SGC here, and today's movie review is Compliance. Compliance is a 2012 American docudrama written and directed by Craig Zobel. I haven't watched anything that he's directed, but if you have heard of Great World of Sound and Turkey in the Straw, he did that stuff. So the cast is pretty much, I haven't heard of anybody. I mean, Dowd as Sandra, as the manager of the fast food place, and Dreama Walker as Becky, the victim of this entire case. And then you got Pat Healy as Officer Daniels. Okay, the movie actually came out in January of 2012 in the Sundance Film Festival, and then the film actually received a limited release back in the States last year, August. Canada still hasn't gotten it yet, and even here in Hong Kong I got a special screening. That's how I got to watch this. So anyway, let's get on with the plot. So the plot line, really, I would really suggest that you know the plot line before going into this movie, or else it's gonna make you uncomfortable and just uncomfortable. So the plot line is that it takes place mainly at a fast food joint called Chickwich, and it's about a cashier named Becky, played by Dreama Walker, who's accused of stealing money, and then her manager, played by Dowd, Sandra, is really working with the police officer that's calling in about this crime. And then things escalate as we need her to strip down, and then things get out of hand as you realize that this is not a police officer on the other line, but rather just a prank call, and a seriously messed up prank call. So the movie pretty much goes over like these sort of like miscommunication and like things like are assumed between characters, as in they think they're all talking about the same thing, but things are actually happening in the room with Becky and whoever else is in there as a dude, as she has to do certain like really like inappropriate stuff at the workplace. So what did I like about this film? I would say it's genuine. Like, the craziness of this movie, that the fact this happened and is inspired by true events, is just nuts. I think if this was not inspired by a true event, my suspense of disbelief with the lack of common sense would be like, I'll be saying this movie was just horrible because people are just doing things that aren't like smart. But it's inspired by true events, and to see that Dowd plays the manager so well, in where she's so convinced that she's trying to do the best thing that she can, which is her job in assisting this police officer. I really buy her acting, as in like she really held up the sense of disbelief that like she was so trusting. She was like missing lines of like communication because it was just people assumed that she knew what they were doing. That's why a lot of things messed up. As much as that's what I liked about this film, the lack of common sense these characters / real people actually did is just, I just can't believe this actually happened, and it made me rather uncomfortable during the latter half of the movie as things got really out of hand, and I'm just like, why did this happen? And yet, like, I see Rotten Tomatoes giving this movie 89%, and I'm just like, okay, like, I guess this is what people like, but for myself personally, I rather don't need to watch a film like this. I mean, I give props to Dowd, as her acting was pretty good to make it genuine and just really crazy that someone did all this blindly and trusting in a voice on the phone just because he's an officer, and you don't do anything like, I don't know, common sense, as in like, oh, let me talk to my regional manager, not just for hearsay that you are on the other line with him. I guess it's just, I don't know, there were times where I wanted to walk out, but I wanted to know how this movie would end, because I mean, it's inspired by true events, so I was hoping that it might go for a positive turn, so I stayed. And the ending, you just gotta watch it if you want to know. Though, yeah, that's the biggest thing, this was inspired by true events, and I think this is the only movie that I've seen so far that with this tagline, inspired by true events. That's the reason why the movie was actually better. Because if this was not inspired by true events, I would be like, why am I here? Like, this movie is pretty messed up, sort of thing. And yeah, so what I didn't like, I guess, like what I was saying, like the uncomfortableness of like just like there's a lot of like, wow, no, don't do that. Oh my gosh, like what is going on throughout? Like those were my feelings throughout the entire film most of the time, as things escalated, and I was just like, man, this is just crazy. And the fact that at the end of the film, like it gives you some stats about these like prank calls and situations, and that stat, I'm not gonna ruin that because it's just a mind-boggling number, and it's just like, wow, I cannot believe these things happen. So yeah, I don't know why anyone would be doing this in real life, but seriously, prank calls, I would see them differently from now on, sort of thing. But yeah, this movie is not my style. like I don't know, like 89% on Rotten Tomatoes, that's pretty high, and for a 89% to be like this kind of film is just sort of like saddening that we need to watch this sort of material to get an 89%. But I mean, congrats to them, because I mean they probably make a lot of money, because it's like the budget's not really big, and they made like 300,000 in the States for limited release. I mean, yeah. The Dreamer Walker as Becky is like she does portray the victim, like helpless victim, well, but really there isn't that much compared to Dowd, because Dowd seems to be the most like center person, as she's just like caught up in all of this, despite the fact that Dreamer Walker is on the poster of this movie, and there's a lot of like rave reviews about, like, you know, her this movie, and it's just, I don't know. It's chilling. Is it brilliant? Like, there's a quote saying it's chillingly brilliant. Like, it's chilling, but I don't know if it's brilliant, because I don't know. If this was like, I think I would enjoy this movie if I knew it was not a true event, though. I would be like, this movie is so nuts that I would hope for some tropes that would lead to a better like storyline, but it's inspired by true events. So anyway, yeah, that's pretty much for this compliance. I don't know what else to say. Would I recommend it? I don't know. Just go in knowing that it's inspired by true events and it happened, and the subject matter that it is about. Anyway, that's all for this movie review on compliance. See ya.